many stories that someone has told you? Maybe your grandma or an uncle or an aunt. Some story that they heard from someone in their life. Now, I don't mean the kind of story you'd find in a book, but rather a special story that's only told in your own family. Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pelly. Welcome to Journeywith Story. I wonder if some of you do know stories that have been passed down from generation to generation in your family. That's a very special gift to have. And today's episode is a Native American tale about a poor, lonely orphan boy who comes upon a magical story stone that tells him all kinds of wonderful stories which bring him great good fortune. Before we begin, a big thank you to two of our listeners, Alexandra and little sister Ingrid, who recently sent me a fabulous drawing along with a note saying, "Hello Kathleen, we love your podcast and we listen to it on the way to kinder and school. We especially love the king with the horse's ears and the girl who helped thunder. Love Alexandra and Ingrid." Oh, thank you, Alexandra and Ingrid. And if you want to see their lovely drawing, just go to www.journeywithstory.com. Click on the blog post for September and you'll see their masterpiece there. We love to hear from our listeners. You can always get in touch on Instagram or at www.journeywithstory.com. Just click on the contact form. Mums and dads and grown-ups, did you know that if you subscribe to our monthly newsletter, you can receive a lovely story pack of colouring sheets along with 3 exclusive bonus stories? Just go to www.journeywithstory.com and click on the story pack button at the top. Now let's take a journey with the story stone. In the time of the forefathers there lived a boy named Crow who was an orphan. Nobody in his village wanted to look after him. So Crow had to live by himself in a rough shelter and hunt for his own food. Crow was constantly scorned and rejected by his people, so eventually he decided he would be happier alone. He took his bow and arrows and a little food that he had scavenged and set off through the forest without a friend in the world. Crow walked until he came to a river, where he found a canoe abandoned on the bank. He pushed it into the water and climbed inside. But before Crow could dip a paddle in the water, the canoe rose into the air and carried him off through the clouds. Crow stared in wonder as he journeyed high above the ground. At last the canoe descended from the clouds and settled onto a river where he was able to paddle to shore. Crow left the canoe and found a clearing nearby where he set to work, stripping bark from the trees to build himself a small cabin. When the work was done, he looked around for somewhere to eat his food. A large round stone with a flat top stood at the centre of the clearing. So Crow climbed up and sat on top. Just as he was about to eat, a voice spoke. "Have you come to hear a story?" it asked. Crow stared around the clearing in alarm, but there was nobody else there. He realised it was the stone which had spoken. What is a story?" he asked nervously. "It is a treasure," said the stone, "an account of things that happened long ago. I can tell you stories about people and happenings from a world that existed before this one." "Oh, I would like that," said Crow. "Then first, "You must give me something in return," said the stone. Crow had nothing but a few scraps of food, so he placed a little piece of meat on the stone, and it began to tell a story. The wonderful story filled Crow's head with magical people, powerful creatures, and brave deeds. When it was finished, he was eager for more. "I will tell you another story tomorrow," said the stone. "But next time, when I am ready to begin, you must say, 'Nio.' And when I speak, you must say, 'Hen.' Then, when the story is done, I shall say, 'Da ne ho nigagi is,' to show it is finished, and you must give me a gift in thanks." That night in his tree bark cabin, Crow revisited the wonderful story in his dreams. Next day, Crow went out hunting and caught some birds. In the evening, he used the words that the stone had taught him, and when the second story was finished, he gave the birds as a gift, and the stone was pleased. As the days passed, Crow became a skilled hunter, and every evening he listened to the story stone until his head was almost bursting with the magical tales he had heard. "There are so many stories," he said to the stone. "How shall I remember them all?" "To do this, you must travel east," said the stone. "Walk until you reach a big village, and all will be made clear to you." Crow did as the stone instructed, but he was nervous about entering another village, remembering how he had been badly treated before. However, now he was a skilled hunter with many stories to tell, and when the people of that village discovered this, they befriended him and gave him clothes, food, and many gifts. One day, an old widow invited him to meet her daughter. The young woman gave Crow a beautiful pouch decorated with fine quills. "I made this for you, storyteller," she said. Crow liked the girl, and so he accepted the gift. The girl was pleased. Then she stepped forward with a loaf of bridal bread, offering herself to him as a wife. Crow accepted that too, and so he became her husband in the way of her people. A few days later, Crow took his wife back to the place of the stone. "This is where I learnt my stories," he told her. "I know," said his wife. "The stone is my grandfather. He told me to make the pouch for you. If you put a small memento into the pouch to remind you of each story that he's taught you, then that story will never be forgotten." And so Crow and his wife lived in the forest clearing, and every evening after the stone taught Crow a new story, he put something to remind him of it into the pouch. At last the day came when the stone told Crow he had no more stories to share. "I have given you this treasure. Now you must keep it safe," said the stone. "Teach these old stories to your children and grandchildren so that they will never be forgotten." Crow promised that he would keep the stories alive. Then Crow's wife asked to see the village where he was born. "They scorned and rejected me there," said Crow reluctantly, but she insisted, and so they went down to the river. To Crow's surprise, the flying canoe was still drawn up on the beach. "Don't be surprised," said his wife. "My grandfather asked me to send you this canoe long ago." As they flew through the sky, Crow's wife taught him many songs to share with his stories. When they arrived at the village of Crow's people, nobody recognized him at first. He reminded them that he was the orphan boy who nobody wanted. "Now I have returned to bring you a treasure," he told the villagers. "Come to me at sunset, and I shall share it with you." The curious villagers gathered around Crow at sunset, and he showed them the embroidered quill pouch that his wife had made. Then he took out a memento and began to tell them a story filled with magical people, powerful creatures, and brave deeds. When it was finished, everyone was eager for more. And so Crow and his wife stayed in the village. And in time he was rewarded for his great storytelling skill with many gifts. Thanks to the story stone, the people and happenings of the world that existed before this one are remembered, and so they will be kept alive as a treasure for generations yet to come. Well, isn't that a marvellous story to celebrate the treasure of stories? And did you notice that word, memento, that Crow used so that he would remember each story? Memento is a lot like the word that I tell you to look for after we finish a story, a souvenir. A souvenir is a French word for what we remember, and memento is a memory too. So each good story should have some memento, some souvenir that we will remember, some truth about what it means to be human and live in this world. And so what do you think this story's souvenir, memento, is? I'll let you discuss that with your friends and your parents. Cheerio, then join me next time for Journey with Story. Music and post-production was by Colette Jonas.